can make it there. I'll make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York.
How we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast here on Facebook Live and YouTube. This is the first of two shows today. I am your host, Richie. Show one, we're going to be talking about the Knicks improving to 13-1 on their home floor, Madison Square Garden, 106-100 victory over the Orlando Magic. We're going to speak on the New York Rangers welcoming back a familiar face, Chris Kreider of the Ducks, playing his former team, the New York Rangers, for the first time today, or later this week, rather. That's going to be interesting as well. And of course, like every Monday, we have the Monday Rundown for all the haps in the NFL, as well as a final Monday Night Football preview. Show 2, 6 p.m. Eastern Time today. We're going to hit on the Netflix special, The Reckoning, all about Sean P. Diddy Combs. And here with me, as damn near always, my co-host out in Asheville, North Carolina, via the Bronx, New York, Idris Salam, a.k.a. Bosco from the Bronx. Welcome to the show. How you doing today?
What's up, people? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday indeed. Not a happy Monday for former friend of ours, Daniel Jones. Season-ending Achilles injury, very unfortunate. We saw a Rams and Seahawks team continue their utter dominance and proving why they may very well be the two best teams in the NFC, although they do share a division. We saw the Washington Commanders get blanked in just more reckless coaching decisions, putting out reigning Rookie of the Year, Jaden Daniels, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jaden Daniels, at risk yet again. Just stupid on their part. We saw the Packers and Bears have quite the dramatic game, and the Pittsburgh Steelers digging deep and surprising most of us. Idris, before we get into the actual banners and hone in, what are your big takeaways from Week 14 in the NFL?
Dan Quinn is not a head coach, man. He's a defensive coordinator.
That's a good take.
I'm gonna pump the brakes on Chicago because I'm gonna pump the brakes on Chicago. We'll get on Chicago and I'll talk about why. Miami, look out. They're creeping slowly back into the race.
Yes, they are.
They're playing for their coach. And I told people for the season, the Chiefs are going to finish third in the West. And that's what's going to happen. They're going to finish third in the West.
Bigger than that, they might actually miss the playoffs. This is the first time, Idris.
I don't think they'll make it.
This is the first time, Idris, since the 2012 season, this late in the year, that the Chiefs have had a losing record.
Yeah. I don't think they'll make the playoffs, man. I had, my prediction at the beginning of the season, I said they're going to be borderline because I felt that Denver and the Chargers were coming. And,
yes,
with the emergence of New England, no one expected New England to do what they're doing right now. That's that number one spot, And
New England and Denver are atop the conference right now as the Broncos. Not the easiest to win. The Raiders showed a little resistance, but the Broncos win again, get the season sweep there. I would have to say that it's probably the most shocking to me, at least, that the Chiefs have a losing record this late in the year, because we've become accustomed to, regardless of the adversity, them always finding a way to be on the other side of things when it matters most. And, hats off to DeMeco Ryans and his defense. And I think that'll be a good starting point as we'll hit on the AFC South first. Colts season takes massive hit with the Daniel Jones injury as the Jaguars destroy Indy in Duval.
Yeah, I hate it because Daniel Jones was my comeback player of the year, and he was having a career resurgence. I mean, he was in the top 10 in passing yards. I mean, he was moving that team, man. They were looking good, man. And then Achilles, man, and that's the type of injury that you don't need any contact, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen, And
indeed,
he's on a 1-year deal with Indianapolis. Like I say, he was having a career resurgence, man. He was looking good. And I'm hoping Indy brings him back because that's their guy, man. That's their guy. Anthony Richardson's not doing the kid from Notre Dame. He's not quite ready, and he's not going to get the reps for the rest of the season.
Riley Leonard. I'm happy for his opportunity because as a Notre Dame fan, as you well know, I always root for my guys to succeed.
Yeah, he's got to learn the game.
He's very cerebral, smart quarterback, not a guy that was projected to be a starter in this league, more of a guy that could be a reliable backup, and definitely a very brainy quarterback, a very intelligent quarterback. People that go to Notre Dame, unless if you're Golden Tate, far from dummies.
Right.
As the late Stuart Scott said, when Golden Tate caught that controversial, not a real touchdown against the Packers that made my dad almost punch the television.
Yeah.
He said, "Come on, Golden. They didn't teach you that at Notre Dame."
Nah. I feel for Daniel Jones, man, because he finally got on his feet and doing his thing, man, and looking good to where people are saying, God, this guy really has skills, man.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, I feel for him, man. I'm his biggest fan. I feel for him, man.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And you saw the sadness and the defeat in his face.
Yeah.
And, to those who may not be aware of this, Daniel Jones was playing with a broken fibula, which few have done in the history of the league. Most notably, Terrell Owens, then of the Philadelphia Eagles. He played with that injury and brought it up to Skip Bayless when he was checking Skip a couple years back. Say what you want about T.O. That was very gutsy. I've told people this numerous times, namely our resident Patriot fan, Brett Bandick. If the Philadelphia Eagles win that Super Bowl in Jacksonville, Terrell Owens is your MVP, not Deion Branch, because he outdid Deion Branch in my genuine opinion. But, between McNabb getting seasick on that last drive, it really just further pushed the rift between T.O. and McNabb. For those that are curious about the deets and all of that Philly drama in the year and a half that T.O. was a member, definitely check out that episode where he and Skip Bayless were going in on each other, as Skip over the years referred to T.O. as Team Obliterator. Yeah. And when you look at, the sacrifices T.O. made in Philly, I thought he handled himself well on the way out in Dallas, or even in 2007 when they lost to the G-Men, basically getting the back of Tony Romo. I think T.O. is a complicated individual, but I feel that he got a raw deal in the eyes of some of the media members, because anybody that wasn't going to vote him in as a first ballot Hall of Famer is essentially just a hater. You're talking about probably only 2 receivers in the history of the league that are better than T.O. Without question, and that would be Jerry Rice and Randy Moss.
I agree 100%. I'm not even going to call him a team obliterated, because you take him off that Philly team, New England blows him out the water, because he was effective in that game. and he was affected throughout the season. So
They tried to devalue him because he missed the games leading up to that Super Bowl.
yeah,
Guys like Freddie Mitchell
yeah,
stepped up, but the point is, or as they used to call him, Fred X.
yeah,
But the point is, Tio got a raw deal from the media, and
he did.
you talk about a guy, and sometimes I think media members, owners alike, try to devalue the intelligence of certain players, and this opens up a larger conversation.
Yeah,
Why am I talking about Tio being treated like cattle? Because I think it's important. We saw two things happen in the NFL yesterday that a
Mhm.
lot of people would deem are unacceptable. Number one, you have a quarterback that won Rookie of the Year last year playing a road game in Minnesota that means nothing to their team, putting him at full risk when he's clearly not 100% with a bad elbow. And then in Indy, they have a little more to play for, but you have a 1 year contract. I reemphasize a 1 year contract with Daniel Jones through 12 games, really changing the narrative of his career, already playing on a broken fibula, and then his Achilles goes on a non contact injury. So when you see this happen, am I onto something here
Mhm.
that no matter how much they try to spruce up, spice up, and fix up things with something that's going to be regulated in the next deal with making sure that all these fields pass an inspection, would
Mhm.
it be safe to say that NFL players in the year 2025 are still being treated like cattle? I know we brought this up to your cousin when he was a guest on our show. We brought it up to Barn Floyd. I think it's something worth looking into, Idris.
I agree. Yeah, I do, and I think also with that, I think kind of the players. I think it's kind of on both ways. I think that they do use the players as cattle, and I think kind of sometimes the players don't help themselves because they complain, they're getting paid the money and all this and all that, da da da. So it's like it's crazy, man. Yeah, as for I'm about to say Mariota. As for Jaden Daniels, he shouldn't have played yesterday. He wasn't ready to
No,
come back.
sir.
You don't have that. You're out of the playoffs right now. It's draft position. There was no reason to play him, not at all, at
Yeah,
all.
next week they play the G-Men, and while I'm a firm advocate for not tanking and playing your game,
Mm-hmm.
I definitely would like to see the Giants get the one pick, trade back, and blow it up big time in the draft. But you still got to play the game. You still got to be a professional. But
Yeah,
yeah, Dan
yeah.
Quinn, to your point, not a head coach. We're gonna hit on that game when we get to the conference and the division there. But uh, are the Colts cooked, Idris, after this Jones injury? I have little to no faith in thinking that they're going to be able to overcome this when you have a surging Jaguar and a surging Texan team.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap. They're gonna have
Unfortunately,
to.
I don't think they're even going to make the playoffs. They're going to have to
Now
win two more games to get in.
it's gonna be hard, man. Cause we know Anthony Richardson. He might get in there, and but what does he have? We've seen for 2 years he has nothing really.
And they've
Um,
made it clear that Riley Leonard's the backup right now.
yeah, and Ryan Leonard. Yeah, he's a very smart guy, very cerebral. But I just don't. He think he's had the reps, and right now is the time where you need to have those reps already in your repertoire because this is crunch time. This is crunch time
Yeah,
now.
no doubt, no
You
doubt.
know?
And what Shane Steichen is going to need him to do, he's going to have to obviously hone back a lot of the playbook
Yeah,
for Riley to get comfortable. But this is a far cry for the intricacies of what it's going to take to run Shane Steichen's offense as opposed to what he did at Notre Dame with Marcus Freeman. And let's not forget, he had some great athletes all around that field, not to mention a top 20 defense in the country when Notre Dame was ever so close to winning their first national title since the 1987 season when they beat the Miami Hurricanes. Now you're talking about, probably the story of the day. We know that the Texans have the number one defense in the NFL. We know that D'Amico Ryans is a hell of a master motivator.
yes, sir.
But when you look at the way that the second half started and how that lead evaporated for the Texans, I must admit that I was starting to get the feel that this was going to be another one of those patented ugly games that the Chiefs win and outlast the opponent. And same old Texans. They're good, but they can't win that signature game on the road. And the Texans just went into overdrive
Yeah.
on the way that they got after Patrick Mahomes. They damn near blanked future Hall of Fame tight end Travis Kelce as he was having a hell of a time getting open. And you look at what Woody Marks did in the backfield, outperforming what anything that I would have expected. I give kudos to Kareem Hunt. He's a gamer. He did his best, but
Yeah.
these Texans are not just a team that's gonna maybe win the South. This team on some metrics gives me the 2000 Baltimore Ravens vibes as a
Yeah.
team that if they get competent quarterback play out of CJ Stroud, or even if Stroud were to go down and you had Davis Mills back in there, if they can get competent quarterback play, this is
Yeah.
a team that has a Super Bowl caliber defense. And I don't care what year it is, even in an era of football, that's what makes this more impressive. Where the rules are geared for more offense.
Mm-hmm.
The Texans play a disciplined, violent style of defense. They make clean hits. They don't commit a lot of stupid penalties.
Right.
They are very disciplined, and they are an extension of not just the coach, but the player that D'Amico Ryans was. And with this win, the Kansas City Chiefs dropped to only a 12% chance to get into the postseason, which is remarkable.
I'm everything you said on point. Houston, defense wins it, man. And if unlike the NFC East or the NFC where you got the Rams, they look tough. You got Seattle, they look tough. You
No
got
question.
some heads up there that can, even with Carolina playing, you never know. They can beat you at any night on any day, like that in the NFC, it's kind of tough. But in the AFC, okay, New England's best team in the league, or whatever. But have they been tested against a real tough defense? They haven't really been tested yet. You have the Chargers. You have Denver. Denver seems to play to the competition. They should have beaten.
Yes.
They should have beaten the living daylights out of the Raiders. They struggle with them. They struggle with us.
I thought after the first time they played them in Mile High and they kind of sleptwalked and won a defensive struggle, I thought for sure Denver would have whooped on them, and that did not happen. And you got to give a little credit to the other team because they are having a season to forget, but they're still trying to compete.
Right. And see, that's what I mean.
At the NFL level, so much parity, and there really is something to the saying. Any given Sunday, we see it in Tampa yesterday with the Saints winning. We'll hit on them in a minute. Titans getting a rare win could potentially help the New York Giants and others. Can help the Cleveland Browns, a team that they beat. Shedeur Sanders in his young career, best game of his career.
Yeah,
I thought it was a good. I'm not going to call it a PR move because I don't want to diminish his real intentions, but I thought it was a good move on the part of Shedeur Sanders. Not just shaking hands, but absorbing Cam Ward, speaking to him, supporting him on the level that, hey, man, we're both in this together. We're fellow rookies. You're the number one pick. I'm a guy that's been compared to you since day one. I got drafted all the way in round 5.
Yeah.
But it was very important that Shedeur Sanders outperformed Cam Ward, even if his Browns lost. And I think at minimum he accomplished that.
Yeah, I agree. He had a good day. He had a good game. I think his only mistake was the first 2-point play when he fumbled the snap.
Yes,
I think he had one pick. It was a bad throw, but all in all, I think I give him an A-. He played
he had a nice day, and I'm not gonna try to diminish it because the Titans are possibly the worst team in the league.
But they played in the
elements.
He played in the elements, man. It was snowing, and
it's kind of weird that a Browns defense that has been so damn good this year, looks so bad against a Titans offense that has struggled this year. Because if the Browns play their typical game on defense,
oh man,
Shedeur Sanders is being celebrated today in a big way, and anytime you get a large personality like Shedeur, who's the son of an iconic football player, it's similar to Bronny James, the son of an iconic basketball player.
Yeah.
But I think Shedeur's handling it well, his opportunity for success. I do believe that whether it's fair or not, Kevin Stefanski will be out.
Yeah.
He's a good coach, but I think it's what's best for the future of the Browns, and I think it's also what's best for the future of Kevin Stefanski, because he's one of those coaches that he's going to get a job right away and will
Oh yeah.
be very much in the head coaching interview scene. And I would not be the least bit surprised if our New York Giants take strong consideration in Stefanski as a legitimate candidate.
I mean, who knows? Or bring him in as an OC because he's good with quarterbacks.
No doubt about it. No
He's
doubt
good.
about it. And with the Chiefs' big loss yesterday,
Oh yeah.
I think it ups the percentage that Steve Spagnuolo might get an honest look as well. You know, the Giants have not had a defensive-minded coach since the legendary Bill Parcells. So it would be interesting to see if the New York Giants choose to go that route.
Yeah.
Going to move it over to the AFC West, Idris. We got the Chargers hosting the Eagles in prime time. If my memory serves me right, you did pick the Chargers to win. I did pick the Eagles. Is that correct?
Yep.
All right. Let me get this timer off of here. Something StreamYard is doing is asking if I want it
Oh.
on a 10-second timer, and I'm going to talk for a lot longer than 10
Yeah,
seconds.
I think the Chargers, the Eagles are just not playing well, man. They're just not playing well. Jalen Hurts is not looking like Jalen Hurts. AJ Brown's complaining. Saquon is looking like what's the guy Eric Gray we drafted? I mean, he's not.
Oh Lord.
He's not looking. He's not. I mean, he's looking like a backup. I mean, I know he's not. Let me get it out there. He's not. But Saquon's not looking like Saquon Barkley. He looks disinterested. You know, looks disinterested. So. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Chargers. I think it's gonna be a good game. I don't think it'll be a high scoring. I think I had like 24-21. I think I can't remember. I think it'll be a close game. But I think that Chargers defense will step it up. Hopefully Herbert is okay. You know, he's had time to rest up that surgically repaired hand. We'll see, but I'm sticking with the Chargers. The Eagles got to show me more, man. They just have to show me more.
I'm going the other way on this one, in large part because the Eagles, last time they were threatened with a 3-game losing streak, they were able to avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that in the Eagles' case, being away from Philly might be exactly what they need right now, because those Eagles fans are very impatient with them. I mean, you're still going to get, a strong support level of Eagles fans that are making the trip to SoFi. That's one of those stadiums where you get a lot of other fan bases that run the show there. And I do think tonight will be no different. I'm taking the Eagles in a close one, almost identical to your final, 24-20 in favor of them, in large part because of the fact that I do think that with Herbert coming off this hand thing, the Eagles have offensive issues galore, but they are a very, very good team in terms of on the defensive side of the ball. And with Omari and Hampton still not healthy, I think a big part of how you beat the Eagles is you've got to be able to run the rock. And I'm not saying Kamani Vidal is not capable of doing that.
Right.
But I'm looking at a low-scoring game that might open up a little in the second half. I think this game is actually going to be very similar to opening night when the Eagles defeated the Cowboys in a low-scoring game. As a matter of fact, it was the same score, 24-20.
Yep. And that's the type of game I'm looking at. I think it's going to be real close. I think it's going to be a good game. I just think it's just Philly's just not, man. It's just not showing me enough, man. They just look weak, man. And I'm not calling. And I don't want people to think I'm calling them weak as in soft. They just don't look as strong as they've looked, to start the year.
No question, dude. It's the Kellen Moore. It's the Kellen Moore effect.
Yeah.
Defensive coordinator Vic Fangio, I expect him to call a really good game tonight.
Always.
So I'll put it to you like this. It's a one-possession victory for whoever wins. I'm taking the Eagles. You're taking the Chargers. Of course, the Dallas Cowboys fan base and the players will have their eyes peeled on this one because Dallas desperately needs Philly to lose this game to still have a chance at the East.
Yeah.
And I expect a really good football game tonight. We kind of already hit on the Chiefs, but we talked more about the Texans. So now let's talk about the Chiefs. Idris, what's wrong with this team?
It's like any other team that has a good run. Teams are getting better. The gimmicks are not working anymore. Patriots, these teams have gotten better, and I don't think the Chiefs really changed their formula to adapt, because if you look at them, they're still running the same type of stuff they did when they were powerful. And
Yes.
it's just not. You have to adapt. You have to adapt and see. If you look at the New England teams from the Brady era, they always adapt to what was going on. That's why they
And I'll
stayed
be
on top.
honest, from the eye test,
Yeah,
I feel that Patrick Mahomes' weapons let him down in a big way last night,
big
because
time. Dude,
even under massive duress, he still was able to put the ball exactly where it needed to be.
Dude, the drop
And
passes they had so
he's
many.
one of the rare quarterbacks that fundamentally could do everything wrong that most coaches would not be okay with. Throwing off his back foot, side arming, throwing into multiple coverage.
Yeah.
And, Patrick Mahomes has been given the right to do that kind of crap, because more times than not, he defies the odds, because there's some talents in this league over the years that have played the quarterback position and get away with that shit. Patrick Mahomes is a glaring example. Brett Favre was one of those dudes.
Yep.
We've seen it. Dan Marino, John Elway. We've seen these kind of guys. Peyton Manning would put a ball in a place where you're like, how did he get that there? When you have 4 defenders, he'll find a way. But
yeah, exactly.
I'll be honest. This is not the kind of thing that could keep the Chiefs down for too long if they play their cards right. But I think in large part, it truly depends on what Andy Reid wants to do. Because just like I said that perhaps Steve Spagnuolo could be an option for the Giants or others, if Andy Reid is getting to that point in his career where he wants to step away, just maybe Steve Spagnuolo takes over right there.
Possibly.
But
the defense
I just can't see a defensive coach being the Chiefs coach.
No. And like I said, with KC, the defense is still on. I just think the offense, I think Andy Reid, I think he has to switch up and see. That's what happened in Philly. Remember, Philly was good for a long time, and then all of a sudden, people's like, okay, we figured you out, Andy Reid. Next thing you know, he had a 4-12 season, and he was out the door. And I think that's what's going on now, because the team is still good. I don't think they'll be down long. I think it's a down year. I think they'll come back next year. They'll get better draft picks, people get healthy. But yesterday, his receivers, including Travis Kelce, let him down. They dropped a lot of passes. And that interception that deflected off of Kelce, right in his hands, and boom.
It's very rare that Travis Kelce allows others to get into his head, but yesterday that happened. You could, whenever Kelce starts doing that Bush League shit, you could tell that they've gotten the better of him in the mental game. And once again, shouts out to DeMeco Ryans and his team. Lovie Smith put a couple of bricks down initially to bring back some pride to this Texans organization. He was replaced by DeMeco Ryans. And DeMeco Ryans has just expanded on what Lovie was trying to solidify. Lovie was there to bring back pride to this Texans team, bring back accountability, which I think he accomplished.
Yeah.
And now what DeMeco Ryans is doing, just one of the best defensive minds in all of professional football and a true leader of men. DeMeco's doing a hell of a job. And while he might get passed over for Coach of the Year, because I have a feeling that that's going to be awarded to the Panthers coach.
Yeah.
Definitely should be a finalist. And I'll be real with you. If Daniel Jones don't get injured yesterday, and if they get into the playoffs, which could still happen, I'll put it to you like this. If the Colts somehow get in with Riley Leonard, Shane Steichen might end up getting Coach of the Year.
You know what? In Riley Leonard, and I don't mean to divert to him. I think with him, because he has the brain.
No doubt.
He just needs the reps and rely on Jonathan Taylor. So and back to what the Chiefs. I think just the people caught up with him, and like I said yesterday, the team let Mahomes down.
No doubt. Patrick Mahomes, no matter what's around him, is going to show the world why he is that dude. There's certain athletes that do that regardless if there's a changing of the guard or if the team's having an off year. Kobe Bryant did it. On some transition years with the Los Angeles Lakers. We saw Tom Brady do it with the New England Patriots, where he would get some of these Patriot teams to the playoffs that you'd look at them, and even if the Patriots didn't win that year, you'd be like, damn, he did a hell of a job.
Yeah, because if you look at those Patriots teams, how many of those guys on offense, other than welcoming them, Hall of Fame. I mean, he took anybody like, hey, let's go, because
we've seen this happen.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers, whenever he would lose a coordinator, Green Bay still manages to win 12 games.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it with Eli Manning, even when his defense, Jerry Reese couldn't draft a defense to save his life. Eli still having those numbers in the 14-15 seasons. We've seen it with quarterbacks. Drew Brees, another guy, great example of it, although some feel he should have at least been a league MVP once. AFC North, man, Pittsburgh Steelers, gotta love Aaron Rodgers' soundbite here.
Yeah.
The consummate prick. But once in a while, AR-12 could be a funny dude. Yesterday was a good example of that. As the Kansas City Chiefs lose, the Pittsburgh Steelers win. I don't think too many people had that on their bingo card. I feel that most people felt the Ravens were going to win. And this is an interesting stat here. Baltimore Ravens lose 2 divisional back-to-back home games. That's not a way to win the division. That's a way to write yourself right out of the playoff picture.
When I knew Aaron Rodgers was having fun yesterday when they scored that running touchdown and did the discount double check thing. I said, I said Aaron Rodgers feeling himself, because I watched that game yesterday. I had like 4 games on, and I watched that game, and I said Aaron Rodgers is having fun.
I haven't seen that side of Aaron Rodgers.
No,
you got to go all the way back to his final real chance at a championship in Green Bay in the 2020 pandemic season. The last time that I saw Aaron Rodgers really having fun on the team.
Yes.
And
he was funny.
I think with the season winding down and with Pittsburgh catching a huge break with the win yesterday, they earned it. Then you have Cincinnati losing to Buffalo in a huge shootout game. Rodgers might be soaking it in and being like, wow, this is the last go. Let me see if I can motivate these guys to go further than we expect, because, a lot of heat coming out with the media, people talking about Tomlin halfway out the door, maybe halfway being pushed out the door. Then you get, which is uncharacteristic of a Steeler franchise that has always kept coaches. Then you got Aaron Rodgers. Nobody wanted him this year except the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
It would be some story if Aaron Rodgers could engineer some kind of playoff run, because when they are clicking on defense, the Steelers could be a premier unit. And, it ain't like the Steelers don't have weapons.
Right.
DK Metcalf is a damn good wide receiver when he and A-Rod are clicking the right way.
I was just thinking that, what if this guy we almost won. Let's do it again. I mean, yesterday I watched that game, and I watched the Cincinnati game, and that was on Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow made a big mistake.
Yeah.
And they'll have a full offseason to think about it, because that loss really, really killed the Bengals.
They were on such a high, they were on such a roll. And with Pittsburgh, if they can keep that, because they played I watched that game, they played a complete game yesterday.
Never once during that game that I think the Steelers were going to lose.
They were supposed to lose. They were supposed to lose.
5.5-point dogs.
Yeah, if they keep that energy, boy, man. Because right now, I mean, as whack as that division is, they're probably the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think at different times of the season, different teams have worn that hat. But yes, I have to agree with you. And what's interesting, and this is going to be our segue here.
Mm-hmm.
The Dolphins head to Pittsburgh next week, and the Dolphins surprisingly have something to play for, as do the Steelers.
Yes.
Everybody is just ingraining that the Steelers got this in the bag. I think it's actually going to be a really good game as the Dolphins continue to quietly win, as they continue to play hard for their embattled head coach, Mike McDaniel, who looks like he's actually going to survive the hot seat and stay another year at least.
Yeah.
Patriots are on the bye week. we just talked about the Bills getting a much needed win. We'll wrap up this part with the talking more about the Bills as we talked about the Bengals already. Miami Dolphins. I'm going to give them some props here because this is a team that is notoriously known for not playing well in cold weather. They went into East Rutherford, New Jersey, and bitch slapped the New York Jets
with ease. Yeah,
Devin Achan, good news for him. Rib injury, not going to threaten his Week 15 status.
Yeah, the Jets. I don't know what's going on. The quarterback situation there, and I don't know, dude. The defense is not playing. You don't let a team like Miami, who cannot play in cold weather, and they've proven they cannot play in cold weather.
No, sir.
You don't let them come in there and beat your ass, man.
I mean, this goes back even to the Marino era.
Yeah.
Jacksonville gets kind of cold. I remember that beating that Jacksonville put on them back in the 90s. That was towards the end of Marino's career when they put up 60-something on them. I remember the shootout games with him and Jim Kelly where Marino was like, I don't give a shit if it's cold. Give me those isotoners. I'm going to fling the rock. But
let's go.
The rest of his teammates were not capable. This has been a Miami thing for years, not just exclusive to the Tua Tagovailoa era, but just kind of peeking ahead at that game. Tua is going to have to be protected and have some time in the pocket. And Devin Achan is going to have to exploit the weaknesses that have been shown from time to time from that Steeler front seven. But the Steelers looked good yesterday. I got to give them that. And kudos to Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers, getting a much needed win. Aaron Rodgers flat out said to the media, so maybe you guys could shut the hell up for a week.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
At his age, he's allowed to say that kind of shit.
Yeah, I like that. Get off our backs. We won. Shut up.
Yeah, beat a division rival in their backyard, and like I said,
yeah,
second consecutive loss for the Baltimore Ravens against divisional rivals at home. Yeah, they might be cooked, but that's the beauty of the NFL. You never know for sure because they have one more meeting. Maybe the Ravens could return the favor in Pittsburgh. That's why we watch the games.
Yeah.
NFC South, Falcons, no match for the Seahawks. No surprise there as the Seahawks continue to prove me right when I say that they are the best wild card contender to actually win a Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about this is with the Packer win, and I said it coming in, that's why I didn't even put the Packers in that wild card category. They're going to win the North in my estimation. And, Cooper Kupp, good seeing the old man get a little action. Sam Darnold has been such a godsend for the Seahawks organization. Their defense, not the same kind of layout that the Legion of Boom era had, but these guys are all over it. And both the Rams and the Seahawks yesterday really put a beating on their opponents. I think the big surprise of the week has to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers squandering an opportunity to pick up a game on a Carolina team who had a tough, you're in a position to get some distance. Now Carolina is really on your ass.
Yeah. Carolina, watch out. They're hot and cold, but it's like, you know what? They seem to beat the teams they're not supposed to beat.
This is the most fragile version of the Buccaneers I've seen probably since that 8-9 season where you knew that it was all said and done for the Brady era when Dallas went into Tampa. And the only thing Dallas did wrong was not kick extra points correctly, but they whipped their ass.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling Tampa's going to squander this division and we're going to finally have a new champion in the NFC South. And I think you got to go all the way back to, the 2020 season when wild card Tampa won the Super Bowl because New Orleans won the division that year. Brady and Breeze had that last meetup. Jameis Winston was actually the best quarterback in that game for the Saints as he actually threw a touchdown in that game. But, bro, I think the Carolina Panthers legitimately could steal this division from Tampa. And, a big part, if this is going to be meant to happen, will be if Mike Evans comes back soon.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, man, tell everyone listening, Carolina Panthers make the playoffs. The Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast will be at the first playoff game. I will be at the first playoff game in the stadium
That would be a great opportunity at a tailgate to go live with some of the Carolina faithful.
That's the plan. That's the
That
plan.
would be a good idea. And you know what else would be a nice idea, Idris, with your gift of gab, and as you are well known in your hometown, to possibly speak to some of the Carolina Panthers personnel and see if maybe, with the excitement coming out of that city, it's been a minute since they've been good. Maybe we can get a veteran Carolina Panther player to join our panel.
That'd be nice. We're gonna work on that.
I know a lot of retired players
Mhm.
like to still be immersed in the culture of the teams. You know, we see it in Giant Country with former Giant greats, you know, guys like Stephen Baker, who I had the pleasure of meeting, guys like the other 85, Mr. David Tyree. You know, you see Matthias Kiwanuka at these things.
Yeah.
You know, the grandson of Idi Amin. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
Forrest Whitaker played that role, something special, man.
Yeah, and you know, that's the plan. Once it looks like they're gonna make the playoffs, yeah. I think, you know what, I think they will. I mean, God, they got a good defense. When the offense is running, who knows, man?
Well, I'll tell you what'll be interesting.
Yeah.
If by chance they run into the Rams again, that would be an epic rematch.
Ooh.
And I would not count Carolina out, although the Rams really do look like the best team in the league. And the Seahawks, I'll be honest, there was a good portion of time there, particularly Brady and Mahomes eras, you know, one after the other, where I feel like the AFC was the superior conference. I do not feel that way this year. When I look at the two best teams in the AFC being the Patriots and the Broncos, no offense to either one of them, but I believe that the Seahawks and the Rams are both superior to the two best that the AFC currently have. And I think Green Bay is somewhere in the middle.
I agree. I think with those two teams, New England and Denver, you just need to bring a good defense with you. That's it. Bring a good defense.
And Seattle and the Rams and the Packers all have that going on. You know, so it will be interesting to see how this all plays out, because there's a high probability that you could get Seahawks Broncos 2.0.
Right.
You might get Rams Patriots 3.0.
I think that's
maybe you get Packers Patriots 2.0. Mike Holmgren beat Bill Parcells in that epic Super Bowl, and I got news for you.
Right, Desmond Howard. Yeah.
New England would have 7 rings, and Bledsoe would have 2 rings were it not for Desmond Howard. And Reggie White also played a phenomenal game, still a Super Bowl record to this day.
Yep.
3 sacks. Justin Tuck came ever so close in Super Bowl 46. If Tom Brady gets sacked in the end zone as opposed to the intentional grounding safety, Tuck would be the co-owner of that record with Reggie White. And where did Justin Tuck go to school, Mr. Idris? That would be Notre Dame. He had the dopest face mask. That Master Shredder face mask, man, that was the best.
Yeah, Tuck, yeah, I got that jersey.
Man, I miss watching that guy on Sundays. That guy, his pregame speeches and his preparation was just flat out intense. And that's what makes him, you know, of course, when you think about the greatest defensive players in Giants history, you know, you got guys like the legendary Emlyn Tunnell, of course, Lawrence Taylor, Harry Carson, Carl Banks.
Yeah.
Strahan goes without saying, but, you know, Jesse Armstead, but Justin Tuck and O.C. Umenyiora, who were in the Strahan group of great trios of pass rushers. Those guys were special, man.
Yeah,
those guys were special.
Yeah, Tuck had a real good personality too. Funny guy. Yeah, I like.
He took to New York really well and was one of the best pickups in the draft the Giants have made. Shouts out to Ernie Accorsi for making that happen. NFC North, Packers win in dramatic fashion. I thought Caleb Williams handled this defeat well, a lot better than he handled things when he was in college.
Yeah.
Lions enjoying the off day after their big victory over the Dallas Cowboys. We know about that from Thursday.
Yeah.
Lions could potentially get second life on a wild card. They're not quite dead, although that sweep to the Packers does hurt. Vikings playing for pride. Commanders just need to pack it in, and what they did was stupid. But the Vikings, Brian Flores called a great game on defense. They whipped that ass. And JJ McCarthy in his young career, his best game. It's been up and down, a lot of peaks and valleys for McCarthy. This was a really good Sunday for him. I want to talk about this Green Bay defense stepping up in crunch time, making sure that the Bears were just not going to win that game in Lambeau. They got a rematch coming up in Chicago in a few weeks, but man, that was a good game.
Yeah, it was great, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm right here. Yeah.
Okay, we kind of went.
Oldest rivalry in professional football. And for time of that game there, it looked like the Bears, they kept answering. They were going to do that fourth quarter magic again, but Green Bay defense just wasn't having it on that final drive.
Yeah, and Kelly Williams, I got to give it to him. He's maturing big time. He's maturing because he's not getting all bent out of shape and all emotional because he's losing. I think he needs to do better. I mean, 19 of 35 for 186. He did get 2 touchdowns, but he got that pick at the end. I think he still has to work on reading the field. I think he still has zone defense issues, but he's getting better. I got to give it to him. I'm gonna take my hats off to him because he's showing poise. The boy can run. They got their quarterback. They have their quarterback.
I said that to friends of the show. Yeah. My good friend Frank, he's a huge Bears fan, as is his wife. And I was joking with his wife, saying how my grandpa was a diehard Bears fan. His son, my dad, was a diehard Packers fan. And somehow I ignored both of them and just said, I'm rolling with LT and Sims.
Right. Yeah. Green Bay is gelling. I'm glad Jordan Love is not throwing them crazy passes. But God,
he's more under control.
Dude, every time he throws a pass off his back foot, I'm like, no, Jordan Love, don't do that, man. Don't do that.
Sometimes Jordan Love looks like Jordan Baker from All American.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, you are not Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, man, and I don't. Yeah, no lie. Yeah. Like in the All American series, Jordan looking like, oh, I'll just chuck this up. Spencer will bail me out.
Right.
I'm like, Jordan Love, you don't have a Spencer.
You
don't have a Spencer James on your team. That's actually really the Spencer Paysinger. Shouts out Super Bowl 46 champion New York Giants.
Yes,
that
sir.
Show is loosely based on his life. Actually, a pretty cool show. I got Jen into it, actually. But yeah, a lot of peaks and valleys for Jordan Love. He's playing better.
Josh Jacobs, man, he looked good. He looks good in Green Bay, man. Yeah. So Green Bay is gonna be tough. Chicago's gonna be there. Like I say, I expect Caleb I need him to be a little bit more consistent. 60% passing is good, but you want to be around 65.
Yeah, 65 or better for sure. But Caleb is getting better.
Getting better.
On the other side, those two cities, not the easiest places for quarterbacks to play due to the elements. But I got to admit, to your point, the Bears have finally found their franchise quarterback. You go through the Rolodex of NFL history, your cousin Emery Moorhead won a Super Bowl with the 85 Bears. McMahon was quite the personality, not a franchise quarterback, though. Jay Cutler, quite the personality, not a franchise quarterback, though. No. Rex Grossman quarterbacked a Bears team that made it on the back of their defense. But the God's honest truth is, and even Trubisky, he had a couple of good years, not the answer. They could have had Mahomes. I'm sure Bears fans want to put their heads through the wall on that, but it looks like you finally got your guy. And we were hypercritical of this young man coming out of college, as we saw Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels both outperform him. But if you look at this year, Caleb looks better than both of them.
Yeah, with him, it was a heart thing. I just felt he didn't have any heart. But now he has Ben Johnson. He has a quarterback coach.
Ben Johnson, that's the dude that's probably going to win Coach of the Year now that I think about it.
He might. I would kind of still give it to down in Carolina. Yeah. If Carolina gets to the playoffs, I would give it to him because that team, I mean, the way they started the year, like, here we go, same old Carolina Panthers, and they started knocking off the big and see there. I mean, I know in the NFL, who you beat really doesn't really matter. Like in college, like if you beat Oklahoma, blah blah blah. Sure, but these guys, dude, look who they beat. They beat some.
No doubt, Idris. I share
Freaking
your
good ass
sentiments.
teams. You beat the Rams.
Yeah, no doubt.
You shut up. I mean, but you shut the Panthers out. Hey.
No,
Yeah.
I'll be real with
Listen,
you.
man.
I think that these playoffs, although you have obvious powerhouse favorites mainly in the NFC, I think the Rams and the Seahawks are both legitimate powerhouses. The Seahawks are one of the best. And mind you, the Seahawks could still win this division. They got another
Oh yeah.
game against the Rams.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You
And
know, the Seahawks have grown as a unit as the year went along. You know, they typically lose to the Niners going back
yeah.
to anything post Legion of Boom. Because when
Yeah.
it was the Legion of Boom, the Seahawks had the Niners number. But
They're beating everybody.
this is going to be a great race. And, the Niners still have a chance to get in. They should. They have their destiny in their hands. But once again,
Mhm.
if the Cowboys finish strong, they have another alternate way in, as do the Lions, the wild card route. So the 49ers got to be careful.
Yeah.
49ers are still in the mix to win the division. They would obviously need somebody to lose. They can still catch Seattle. They can still catch the Rams. There's a lot of possibilities down this final month of the season.
Yeah.
And, the NFC West, we kind of covered it already with the Rams and Seahawks both flexing their muscle and just showing why they are so powerful. They
Yeah.
don't mess around when they play inferior competition. They kick their ass.
Yeah, I agree, man. That West, like I said, I see the Rams getting there. If not the Rams, I think Seattle might be the one.
If you get a second round matchup, which is a high possibility,
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it could be. You know what? No, they would probably wait till the third round because if the Rams get the number one overall seed, it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. The way that they would play in round two would be if Green Bay gets the one, and I said it on many a show. That tie could help them in that regard.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. But I'll be honest with you, man. I'm pulling for these Panthers, man.
I'll tell you what, even if the Panthers don't go far, if they get one
Let's go
playoff win
Panthers.
this year,
Let's go Panthers.
if they get one playoff win, that would be huge. If they get one playoff win, that would be huge. It's all about matchups. It really is all about matchups because it looks like the Panthers, one way or another, if they win the South, are destined for a rematch. They have already played the Rams.
Yep.
They played the Packers.
Yep.
But things will be slightly different. If they draw Green Bay, that may very well be in Lambeau.
Yeah.
When they do meet. But the cool thing for Carolina is if they win this division, they will be getting a home game. But I got to keep it a buck, dude.
Yeah.
If you get the 4 seed, which looks like that's what the Panthers will be sitting at, it's not much of a reward when you have to host the Seattle Seahawks or the Los Angeles
That's what I'm saying. You got a tough matchup, though. That's the problem.
You're going to get one of them. And it may be not the most pleasant experience after a good season, but you never know.
Never know. I mean, remember, they went to the playoffs with Cam Newton, 6-10, I think they were. They won that first playoff game.
Well, I'll be honest with you. If I'm a Carolina fan, I think they match up better with the Rams.
I do too.
They don't match up well with Seattle, at least not in my estimation. I think Seattle would really be a long day for Bryce Young. Where I think that Bryce Young already seen what the Rams have. They could potentially win a similar game to what they did in Carolina.
Yeah, because Seattle got that beef up front. You got Leonard Williams right there in the middle. They got that beef up front. So
they're a dangerous team, dude.
Yeah. So with Carolina playing Seattle, they would have to throw because Leonard Williams and crew on that front line, they're gonna make sure they stuff Dowdell and Chuba.
We said it. We said it on the AFC side with the Texans being the best that the NFC has to offer. I feel that Seattle is the best in the AFC rather, and then in the NFC, it's Seattle best defense in my opinion.
Yeah, that front line, man.
They might be living in second place right now, but that could be premature because, like I said, the rematch with the Rams, similar to what we saw last year when the Vikings and the Lions played, will determine or could determine home field advantage. And Green Bay is right now in a position to get home field advantage too. Will Jordan Love be able to capitalize on home field advantage in a much better way than Aaron Rodgers wasn't able to? Because let's not forget, the lone Aaron Rodgers Super Bowl run was all accomplished on the road.
We'll see, man.
He pulled off something similar to what the 07 Giants did.
Yeah, we'll see, man. This playoff just coming up, these playoffs right here. With the AFC, it's going to be interesting to see who actually gets in because it's so. I mean, you got New England up top. You got what's the name up top also. Okay, fine.
The Broncos.
But after that, it's wide open, dude. It's wide
and
open.
not for nothing, bro. After what I saw yesterday with that Buffalo offense, am I completely convinced that Josh Allen can't lift his game up a couple of notches, especially with his forever oppressors, the Chiefs, probably not in the playoffs.
Right.
I'm going to say, yeah, he might be able to. Not much to say about the NFC East this particular week because we already kind of covered how we see tonight's game going.
Mm-hmm.
But just for the viewers to do a little reading here, the Cowboys obviously are going to be honing in on the events of what goes down in SoFi tonight. Cowboys got to win out, and they need a little help. New York Football Giants on the bye, getting closer to that one pick. But,
the best two-win league, the best two-win team in the league.
Yeah, for real.
We might be one of the best teams in the league. We just can't close.
Yeah, no lie. But leadership is definitely under question. We're gonna have to see which direction that goes in. Before we get out of here, did want to hit on our New York Knicks as well as the New York Rangers. Start with the Rangers. I want to talk about Chris Kreider and shout him out, man.
Mm-hmm.
This is a dude that came in and brought the same level of intensity that guys like Brian Leach, Mark Messier, Jeff Bookeboom, those legends from the mid-'90s that were able to get the Rangers over the hump, breaking that 54-year curse. Chris Kreider, a guy that was so close, man. We lost to the LA Kings in the Stanley Cup Finals. The next year, I was in the building in Tampa. Rangers won 8-3, only to get shut out at MSG, losing their first ever Game 7. I think the message I'm trying to say is that as a fan base, we truly appreciate what Chris Kreider brought all those years, and I'm sure there will be emotional for him to go against his former club. Rangers are under construction, but the Rangers, if the season ended today, would be in a position to make the playoffs. They got to get better at the Garden because on the road, they've actually been very good.
And that's the problem, dude. I mean, welcome back to the Garden, but we coming, this is business now. But it's great that we can win on the road because when you go in the playoffs, you want to be able to win on the road, but you got to win at home. You got to win home games. We got to win in the Garden, man. As for the Knicks, hey, 13-1 at home. I'm happy with that one.
Yeah, big win. They needed to beat the Magic this year because two previous matchups, the Orlando Magic were the better team. Mm-hmm. Good to have OG Anunoby back. I thought OG was going to swing on Desmond Bane.
I did.
I didn't understand that. The Bulls back in play. You don't have to throw it off. It wasn't like you were stumbling with the ball. What the hell was that? That looked like some shit that I would see like in Redfern or something.
What I thought at first when I watched, I said, well, maybe, OG was out and he had two Detroit players out. I said, maybe he threw it off OG to say, okay, OG's out of bounds. Let me throw it off OG and we can get the ball. Because I noticed when he threw it off, he pointed like going back down the court. And I figured maybe he did that.
That was wild. But that was weird because it's like he already had the ball. You're under the basket. Go the other way.
He didn't have to throw it at him.
OG looked like he was about to go like Anthony Mason mode on his ass.
Yeah, he could have just tossed it to him like, yo, I threw it to you because you were out of bounds. But he threw it like he was going out of bounds and trying to save the possession. Like, dude, what you doing, man?
It was a very close game. And the reason why the Knicks won this game down the stretch, getting the big rebounds, that is the difference and why they won this game. But 13-1 at the Garden, their best start at MSG since 92-93, in case anyone's wondering what happened that year. The New York Knicks went to the Eastern Conference Finals and actually had a 2-0 lead on the legendary Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Chicago Bulls, led by, of course, the Zen Master Phil Jackson. So I'm taking my dog out yesterday. And, so I'm wearing my Patrick Ewing, one of my two Patrick Ewing jerseys. And I'm over here thinking about the old days of the Knicks and and this and that. And something really random came into my head. I want to ask you a question, Idris. Mm-hmm. Do you prefer the Knick logo that is the basketball with Knicks across it, or do you prefer the one with the triangle behind it, which was introduced in the 90s?
Whew. That's a good
I'm
question.
going somewhere with this. That's why I'm asking the question.
Do I like the triangle or do I like which one you say?
The more classic one, which they had on the hardwood yesterday, it was just Knicks that was famous in the 80s and before, like the Bernard King kind of era.
See, that's kind of.
I have a theory here, and you're going to find it amusing, or you might see it as a gut punch. But I think either way, you'll be amused.
Dang, I'm gonna go to triangle, but I don't know, man. I had to think.
Now you're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh. Yeah. Think about it. Mull it over some more. Mull it over some more. I'm gonna give you something interesting.
Yeah.
What did the Chicago Bulls run on offense from Tex Winter?
The triangle.
Triangle offense.
Oh, go ahead. I think go ahead.
No, I got something for you, Idris. To my recollection, the Knicks introduced that triangle in 93, maybe 92. I think it was 93. Don't quote me on it. It was 92. An unheralded John Starks, who was already forgotten about, that played for Golden State and the New Jersey Nets. He went overseas, went to the CBA, been around, got his game up, became the second best player on that Knicks team in 92. Of course, you had Gerald Wilkins, you had X-Man, you had an interesting team there.
Mm-hmm.
I think a couple of mistakes the Knicks made was not bringing back Wilkins, letting X-Man go to leave, and a couple of years later, or actually the next year, trading Mark Jackson for Charles Smith, which was also a fatal mistake.
Yeah,
and I think those.
I didn't understand that one.
There's a lot that I didn't understand. The Knicks ultimately took the Bulls to 7 games that year. Patrick Ewing, playing on a bum ankle, was not able to keep up defensively. Michael Jordan had a day.
Mm-hmm.
All those, but getting back to this whole triangle thing.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. The Knicks were close to knocking out the Bulls in 93, 94, they make the finals. I don't even want to talk about that series. That series makes me sick.
Yeah.
But 92, man, that Knicks team, that was the beginning of what Riley was implementing into the bad boy 2.0, what he wanted the Knicks to be. But this whole triangle thing is weird to me, because I'm like, you guys have been murdered and brutalized and abused by the triangle offense for so many dang years. Between Pippen and Jordan and the different Bulls players that were rotational pieces that came in, you replaced Grant with Rodman. Either Bull team, take your pick. That with Horace Grant or Dennis Rodman, third best player on the team. Then you get guys like Ron Harper, great shooters like Kerr, Paxson over the years, Took me a long time to think about this and put it together. There was always something uncomfortable about that triangle behind the Knicks logo, and now I figured it out. Get that triangle the hell out of here, just like Mike Lupica. Don't ever say another word about the Knicks and Bulls again.
You know what? When you say that, I agree. Get rid of that shit.
Makes you wonder, right?
Get rid of that shit.
What is this? The Legend of Zelda, the Triforce? That shit's weird.
Cause you know what? I mean, I like both logos. But
after that little point I made, you're gonna start.
Get rid of it. Yeah, just go with the basketball with the Knicks on it, and then just leave it at that.
This is an era of NBA basketball from a fashion sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this has been going on since the early 2000s. We saw it in a lot of our favorite rappers' videos, where a lot of the throwback uniques were making a comeback. And similar to how we love the New York Giants 80s threads, I think it's time for the Knicks to exclusively, well, they're not going to exclusively go because there's too much merchandise, but they always got to show off different jerseys.
Yeah.
All the NBA teams do that now. But I would like to see the Knicks predominantly roll with the old school pre-triangle.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you.
Final thought.
Yeah.
Just to let the viewers know, we will be back 6 p.m. Eastern today to get into the deets of the Sean Diddy Combs special on Netflix, which was produced by 50 Cent, a.k.a. Curtis Jackson, a.k.a. the biggest troll to ever come from Queens.
Right.
I'm not going to give away too much. I did a short to inform the viewers that's the direction we're going in tonight, but I look forward to that. And with Idris in the new year, honing in on hip-hop shows, music shows in general, which also going to occasionally intertwine into sports because this is a sports podcast first and foremost. This is a good way to get the appetite wet for what's to come on the Rich H. Jr. Sports Podcast. You know, it's going to be Bosco's thing, you know, like, you know, part of my motivation, it's like being a coach. You
Right.
want your guys to shine.
Right.
You know, shouts out Mike Zappi. Obviously, he's been very busy with his personal life with all the kids playing sports. And at different times, my two guys, Zappi, previously, Idris now, have stepped up in a big way as quote unquote my number two. It's not a competition with family. I just want to say that I'm greatly appreciative
Oh yeah, no
to the
doubt.
contributors. You know,
No doubt.
obviously Idris is my co-host. Shouts out Mike Zappi for the time that he put in, and he's still a part of this podcast family. You know, he's always welcome whenever. But you know, life has changed some for Zappi, where he has to be daddy first, and I more than respect it. You know, shouts out Brett Bandick, Ryan Shed, you know, guys that, and our friends at the Sports Corner.
Yes, sir.
You know, Joe Gal, Johnny Nast, check them out. Gonna do my shouts out before I go. Check out the Casual Convo Show every Wednesday or Monday, every other week. Wednesday and Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. They alternate weeks on what days they're gonna do that. Check out our friends at the Bleed Blue Podcast. Check out our friends at the Sports Corner, Johnny Nast, Joe Gallagher. And make it a point, if you love music, to check out this man, Idris Salam Show on Live365.com. He has a radio station spinning everything from island music, R&B, rock, golden era hip hop, new hip hop, R&B classic soul, the whole lick. Check it out, Live365.com.
Yes, sir.
Bosco from the Bronx, the
Yes, sir.
Experience.
Yes,
We
sir.
will see all of you at 6 p.m. and we are going to go in on Sean Diddy Combs.
Yes, sir.
As I like to call it, no way out for you, Mr. Combs. No mercy.
No mercy.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's Richie. Peace.
Peace.